Hi guys, over the last 12 months we've seen a number of high-profile Tories defect to Reform UK. We had Lee Anderson, a former deputy chairman, become an independent and then of course defect to Reform. We had Andrea Jenkyns, a former minister and MP within the Conservative Party, defect to Reform UK after she lost her seat. And recently, of course, we had Jake Berry, a former chairman of the Conservative Party, lose his seat and defect to Reform. Now, Helen Whatley, a current shadow minister and current MP within the Conservative Party, unless she's going to defect herself, was asked about another high-profile figure within the Conservative Party. Well, have a listen to what she had to say.
Just want to touch on another defection, high-profile defection, former chairman Jake Berry, starting to get a bit nervous within the party?
Well, actually, I mean, what you saw is just this week, Reform have lost one of their 5 MPs. They're down to 4 MPs in Parliament again, so they can't hold on to their MPs. I mean, clearly, former MP Jake Berry, I wish him well with a different party. Reform is a very different party from us as Conservatives. As we've been talking about, we believe in fiscal discipline and living within our means. Reform doesn't. Reform believes in spending more, and I think inevitably taxing more. And Jake's views perhaps have changed during his time. People's views do change during their lifetime. So I say, I wish him well in a different party.
He's obviously a very close ally and friend of Boris Johnson. Would you be worried if Boris Johnson joined Reform?
I'm focusing on what we need to do as the Conservative Party, which is hold this government to account and offer people a serious and better alternative come the next election. That is what I see as my job as a Shadow Secretary of State.
Thank you so much for joining us, Helen Whatley.
Okay, so I'd like to lay out the possible reasons why Boris Johnson might join Reform and some of the arguments against that. First of all, why would Boris Johnson join Reform? Well, Reform are on the rise. Boris Johnson loves attention. He loves the limelight. He also loves money. So there would be a benefit for him in joining Reform. He would get a huge amount of attention. It's likely there would be some money involved. He would bring a lot of star power to Reform UK. It would be the death of the Conservative Party. Imagine a former Prime Minister, former leader joining Reform. Boris Johnson, of course, wouldn't be able to be an MP within it because he'd have to run for a seat. But he could bring a huge amount of star power. He's a great campaigner when he wants to be, and this could be a huge benefit to Reform. And it'd be extremely embarrassing for the Conservatives, who are obviously in decline at the moment. Now, I don't think that's actually going to happen because Boris Johnson has a huge ego. And I don't think there's enough space in Reform UK for 2 massive egos. Nigel Farage is not somebody who shares power. We've already seen other people who tried to share power with him booted out or leave Reform UK over disagreements with Farage. Boris Johnson is not somebody who would play second fiddle. Boris Johnson wants to be in the limelight. He would prefer to be leader. Remember, he became... I think he joined the Conservative Party to become leader and eventually Prime Minister. So it would be a massive step down being just some campaigner within Reform, being a spokesperson for Reform. I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I just think it's extremely remote because Boris Johnson wants to be front and centre. He wouldn't want to be second in command to Nigel Farage. He would want to be in charge. Also, Boris Johnson is extremely lazy. And what I mean by that is when it came to campaigning for the Conservative Party, he hardly ever turned up. He did a few selfie videos, which were, mediocre. Boris Johnson is a good campaigner when he actually gets his crap together. If he's actually interested in campaigning, he's pretty good. But unless there's a real motivation behind him, he's not going to be a really good campaigner for Reform or the Conservatives or whoever. So I think he might be interested in the idea for about 5 minutes, but as soon as he's asked to do some hard work, I think he would leave. And that would be embarrassing for Reform. So while some people might like the idea, especially people within Reform, there are a lot of Conservatives who have defected to Reform, who were huge supporters of Boris Johnson. They would love the idea of having Boris on board. I don't think he's actually going to go through with that. But I could be wrong. He may need some more money. He may want some more attention. And he has a lot of kids, mouths to feed. So there's a possibility that he does jump on board. But I don't see it lasting very long. And certainly he'll be nowhere near a leadership position. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think, and I'll see you in the next video.